Morning, everyone. I just want to tell you how blessed I am, okay? Because in just a second, I'm going to be introducing author Lexie Elliott, and we're going to be talking about her debut novel, The French Girl. And when she said she talked to me, I almost jumped up and down. I literally jumped up and down. I was so excited because I loved this book. It is so good. It's a debut novel for her, and she is like this crazy athlete, okay? She doesn't just right. She competes in marathons and triathlons, and I can't wait to talk to her. I am so inspired by her. So, everyone, here is Lexie. Hi, everyone. I am so excited to be speaking with author Lexie Elliott, and we're going to be talking about her brand new book, The French Girl, and she has it there, and she's going to hold it up for us because I love this cover. We have to show this cover off. I mean, I was so excited, Lexie, when you said you'd talk to me because I am seeing that cover all over Instagram, everywhere. And people, and
Beautiful.
it is, for anyone who doesn't say, judge a book by its cover, I judge a book by its cover. Because all my book reviewers that I'm friends with on Instagram were showing that book cover, and like, I didn't even read their review. I'm like, I need to read that book. Of course, they gave you a rave review, but it was like, I can't get past that. I'm like, oh my God, look at that book. Oh, it has to be great because look at that cover. It has to be a good book.
Well, when I saw the cover, that saw what they were thinking at Berkeley, I was like, wow, that is just the instant I saw it,
Stunning.
I was done. Yeah, no, don't look at anything else. Let's do that.
Let me see the binding on it because you know how everybody for the edge. Okay, all right. Because you know what I'm seeing on Instagram, and I don't know if you're on Instagram, but did you see the people that are making art projects with their books with the bindings?
I've seen some. Is that literature art or something? It's called.
There's it is crazy. You should see my bookcase, okay? Because I have books just shoved. Like I can't fit more books, but I was like, you know what? I should do that. That is something. It's so cool. There was one. I think there's one called Book Sugar or something, but she does like art with her books. I mean,
wow.
And I was thinking your book cover has to be like the best thing to use for because it has that color that pops like that.
Yeah, the red, the pops.
The red and the green, and and I know they do a lot of work on what attracts us to book covers. So that's why people are like, you always talk about the book cover. Well, you know what? We have to give props to those people because they spend a lot of time.
It's an art form, definitely.
It is.
Getting it right is hard.
It is, and they really study colors to see what people are going to notice in a book. When it's just on Barnes and Noble shelves, like what's going to attract your eye to it. And your book is up there. So anyway, and I love that. I can't believe this is a debut novel. First of all, for everybody out there, this is a debut novel. I checked this like 3 times because I didn't believe you. I was like, no, it's not. No, it's not. She hasn't written other books. This book is so good. And you wrote this, I don't know when you started writing this, but the timing of this coming out couldn't be more perfect. There are so many thrillers coming out, and women are loving these kind of like domestic thrillers, even though this doesn't have to do with a family. I didn't look on Amazon to see if they categorized it like that, but I put it in that category because it's like, it's about friends, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you think it's like that, but that's kind of where women are really attracted to these right now. I mean,
I think it's really interesting because I think that a lot of the comments I've had from people who really did connect with it, they said things like, it's so nice to read a book where you like the heroine, where she doesn't do stupid things, And I want to write about someone who's interesting, who's smart, who is not gonna, when you watch a film and you're don't go in there.
Exactly.
People don't do that. You don't go in the room, And I want to write books that connect with people and are believable and are not just a long premise to a hook that's supposed to catch the reader out. And really, you can feel quite cheated by that if the hook at the end, if the twist doesn't actually fit everything you've learned about the characters so far. I think I feel very strongly about a book being a journey, and where the resolution of that journey should fit with who you've come to know those people to be.
Yeah, this was so character driven. I loved that because having 6 kind of characters that are, in the mix, but using her as your character driven and you really get to know her inside and out. I felt the same way, and I hate thrillers that I get to the end and I love to be surprised, but if it comes out of nowhere, you're like, oh, that's just, you don't want it to come out of nowhere. You want to be like surprised, and I know that's hard for you authors because as readers, we're like, here, just do this. And you're like, okay, I'll try to do that. But I thought you did a great job with that. I loved the ending. I loved it. I love the way it wrapped up with her. I mean, we don't do any spoilers, so I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
But we don't. No, I hate spoilers. I don't even go to book reviews if I think they're going to even tell me anything. But I just love the way it all wrapped up. It was so, I don't know. With her, I was like, oh, I just love the ending so much. And it, as, like I said, as getting to know her as a businesswoman and then involved in this and having to kind of look back, because I was thinking, what is the worst thing you can think about is looking back on 10 years and going, wait, what do I remember? I don't even know what I remember. And, like that would be a nightmare, even though it was very tragic, and I'm sure, but I was like thinking as her, I was like, oh, that would be very, very, she's trying to move ahead with her life, and then she has to keep going back,
Yeah, and I think that's something that sort of resonates with me, the fact that we build an idea of who we are based on the things we've done and what we remember about them, but actually our memory isn't all that accurate, and with time it really isn't very accurate. And we use that as a framework to tell ourselves about who we are and who we think the people around us are. And if something shakes that framework, it can have some unexpected consequences, and you can find yourself quite at sea, as she does when she suddenly realizes that, oh, I thought it was this, and maybe it's that, and what does that mean?
Yeah, and with having these 6 characters, and I love that, because in college, and I didn't go to college, I became a mom right away, and, so I'm only telling you this of what I've seen my kids go through, and everything is like, you take 6 college kids and, boys and girls, and of course there's like all this entanglement. And then there's stuff that they do know and stuff they don't know. And then you find out about, like it's almost like you don't want to know. You've made it 10 years without knowing. And now you got to go back and know stuff, right?
Yeah, and I think, group dynamics are an interesting thing because, no group is ever even. There's closer bonds, there's weaker bonds. And what I've found really interesting since, leaving university is who I have actually grown closer to or grown apart from is not necessarily what I would have picked if you'd asked me at the end of university, because you change and your life circumstances change, and sometimes you spend more time with someone because they have kids at the same time as you, or they do the same kind of job or something. But, the group dynamic is a living, breathing, changing thing, and that has an impact too on, how Kate in the story feels about herself and feels about that her friends and feels about that event.
Right, exactly. I don't know. I love the concept, and I love that it was from Oxford. And then I saw you went to Oxford, because we, especially here in the United States, like we have these vision of things over there, and like Oxford, we're thinking it's like this like most conservative, all these like nerdy smart kids that are so above everybody else in the whole entire world. And so I kind of love that you said it there, and that you made them so human from what I envisioned,
I think almost everybody who goes has this panic before they go, like, oh my God, is everybody going to be so clever and so not interested in me or the things I like to do? And then you get there, and it's a bunch of kids, everybody's 18, everybody's away from home for the first time, everybody wants to go to the beer cellar and have a drink, and everybody wants to find a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and everybody wants to have fun and be young and party, and oh, by the way, they kind of want to get a degree at the same time. But it's not any different to any other college campus that you could go to in that sense. And I was very scared coming from, from a state school in a very rural part of Scotland, and then going down to Oxford, and I loved it. I had an absolutely brilliant time, and it's one of those institutions that has changed over the years. I'm sure there's lots of accusations you could have levelled at it that were true at some point, but hopefully it's moving with the times, and I feel very warm about my time there. And to be fair, I was there for 7 years because I did my PhD at Oxford as well, so I spent a lot of time at Oxford.
That was crazy. I mean, was it a dream of yours to go there, though? Like, as going through middle school, and I don't know what you have, like, going through the middle grades and then high school, was that like a dream of yours to get accepted there?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a funny story because I should start by saying that I have no artistic talent for drawing whatsoever, and when I was at primary school, I think I must have been 10, they did a competition with British Rail to and the prize was tickets for your family anywhere in the UK, and I didn't want to draw, but I like drawing horses, so I drew lots of horses in a train and somehow won this competition. So my family, we suddenly had a holiday, and we went down to stay with some friends not very far from Oxford, and we did a day trip to Oxford, and I was totally captivated. I mean, Oxford is a beautiful city, and Cambridge is too, and many other cities are, but that particular one, Oxford, just caught at me. And we had a tour of one of the colleges, and I said to my mom, I remember being in the car and saying, I'd like to go there. And my mom said, yes, dear, if you get the grades. And so when it was apparent that my grades were probably going to be good enough, it was just a given in the family, oh yeah, we're going to at least try. But nobody from my school had ever been to Oxford, and the school didn't really know what the application procedure was, so my mom had to research it and help me find out, and wow, so it was quite something to go there.
That's great. That's awesome, though. And I love that it was a dream, because that's what I was thinking, like people that have been there, like, that it had to be, because there are schools around here that it has to be something that you're really, like, giving you motivation, like, I want to go there, And, and so when I saw that these guys were from Oxford, I was like, yes. And then I read your bio afterwards, and I was like, oh, no wonder she could do this story so well. She went there. She was there for many years. And, just to tell everyone about you, because I am just so inspired by you. Okay. You're such an athlete. You're not just like a little bit of an athlete. You are like this mega athlete. And there you sit with a broken ankle.
Yes. I'm not such an athlete right now.
No, but you swim the English Channel.
Yeah, I did.
Is that like a normal thing? Like, it sounds like, who does that? But do people do that? Like, they just go? I thought it was like a really, really difficult thing. Like, not many people do it.
Yeah, no, not many people do it. I think 3 times as many people have climbed Mount Everest as have swum the English Channel. So it is a difficult thing. And you have to commit to it. You have to do it through certain organisations, because there's a safety aspect to it, obviously.
Wow.
But yeah, I did that. Let me think. So I did that in 2007, in between having my 2 kids. So my eldest was my eldest was just over 1 when I swam it.
And do you just like think about it? Like, you wake up one day and you're like, you know what? I think I'm going to swim the English Channel. I mean, you can't be, I saw you were in swimming, okay, but you've got to be like a really, really good swimmer, I'm imagining, like, to make it that far.
Well, I think the distance is one thing, because I think if you are a club swimmer, then you've probably at some point done quite a bit of volume in the pool, and so the distance, it's daunting, but you can train for it, obviously. The cold is something that you really need to make sure you spend a lot of time acclimatizing, because otherwise you really suffer, because you don't do it in a wetsuit or anything. You just do it in a swimsuit. Otherwise, apparently, it doesn't count. There are rules about it being a legitimate crossing.
Oh my gosh, so you do it and you're in a wetsuit. It's like, sorry, it was almost like you didn't do it. You can't even claim title to it. That is absolutely insane, okay?
Yeah. Well, so I'd done a relay when I was at Oxford. Oxford and Cambridge race each other in a channel relay. And the way that works is you have 6 people in the team, 3 men, 3 women. Each swimmer swims for an hour, and you keep going till you hit the other side, basically. And so every 2 years, Oxford and Cambridge do that race. And I'd been part of that in the year 2000. And I always thought that the relay was fine, but I was never going to do a solo because it was too far and it was too cold. And then I guess I had Cameron, and I just felt like I wanted to do something that made me feel like me. Because it's lovely having kids, and
Right.
there's a chef over here, Nigella Lawson, who you may or may not know, and she said once you have kids, you stop being the picture and you become the frame. And it's entirely right that you should be the frame for your kids. That's exactly right. But sometimes you want to feel like you're still you, and you're still doing the things that make you who you are, that are part of your story. And so, yeah, I signed up to do the English Channel.
That's awesome. And you can always say that. Like, it's so cool. Like, it's a part of your story. You can that's always like something you did. You don't ever have to do it again. You did it.
No. Please no.
Yeah, right. You never have to say, you never have to do it twice. You just do it once, and it's like, that's it. That's all you have to do. That's awesome. But I like that. I've never heard of that before, but I do feel like, especially because I do have 6 children, I'm going to have, by the end of this year, I'll have 10 grandchildren because they all have decided to have children. And when I started doing this, they were all shocked because all I've ever done is everything for them. So when I decided, now my children help me. I told you in the beginning, I do have children that help me, but they were just kind of like, oh, that's cute, Mom. You go do, as they get older, they just look at you like, oh, that's cute. You're not going to bake bread today. You're going to go do a YouTube channel. Okay, that's cute. I think once they started doing stuff for me, they understood the commitment a little bit more than, just a fun hobby to do. But, it's really awesome that as a young mom that you did that. Because like I said, as they grow older, it becomes, you do get tied up in their stuff a lot more.
You do. Yeah. But you must be the coolest grandmother to be, doing this and on YouTube and all this. They must really brag about you in the schoolyard.
The oldest is only 5. So they're very, very, all 3, my daughter and my 2 daughter-in-laws are all pregnant right now. Okay. So it's like they come in clusters, I'd say. But I mean, to think about that, the oldest is 5. My 2 oldest granddaughters are 5, and like that they're that their cousins are like that close in it. I mean, it's crazy. They'll be very close, I'm sure, like growing up, But yeah, they don't really get it yet. They see me walking around with books, and I give books. I'm like the coolest grandmother in that every time I get them a present, it's a book. Like I'm like, no, read. You need to read. I want to pass on reading to them, So but anyway, I was just so inspired by that. I was just like, wow, that is, I mean, on top of everything else you do, and you're a writer and you're a mom, and then you did that, and it's inspiring for women to hear because, they can, even for my daughters, it's like, you can do other stuff. You can do other stuff for you. And I wish I would have done more for me at your age,
It's hard. Life requires you to prioritize, right? And, I think that can be a really tough thing, particularly when your kids are very young and you get very, very wrapped up. But I feel like the other things that I do, they mean that I come back to the kids and to the family, and I can do it with, let's say, a better sense of humor, at least. I feel a bit more myself.
Right, exactly. And you must be so thrilled. I mean, debut novel, like I said, this book is getting so much good press. Your reviews are amazing, and that must feel really good, too. Like, such an accomplishment at your age to have that.
It's lovely, and the only thing that you can ever hope for is that the book connects with people, and the fact that it does is wonderful. And how many books sell or all of that is less important to me than just making those kind of connections and feeling like I've done something that maybe might stick with some people and mean something to them as well as to me.
Yes, and I wanted to tell you, because I'm really actually haven't looked at my notes that much. So, first of all, I want to tell everybody, your website, amazing. Go to Lexie's website, okay? Because whoever designed that website, crazy
They
good
did,
job.
yeah.
Yeah.
I had a lot of help from. I'd sort of done the bare bones, and then I had a lot of help from Berkeley.
Oh my gosh,
they were great.
I love the opening. Guys, just go to her website just for just for the opening alone. I've never seen anything like it. And you know what? As authors, like I think everybody's understanding, like when it comes to social media and websites and that, it's like all of it works together. You know, it all leads to the book, and this and then the video that's in there.
That's very cool, isn't it?
It's very
I've never
cool.
heard of that. I mean, maybe it's more of a US thing, I don't know, but I had never heard of book trailers or anything. And so when they suggested doing it, I was a bit like, what is that? You know,
I think it's brand new, really. There are not very many people that have it. I have seen it before, but not very many. So I was like, when I saw yours, I'm like, yes, you should do. I don't know. I think it should go on YouTube. And when people look the book up, it really leads to, like I said, everything kind of works together, and it leads to the intrigue of the book. And they did a great job with that. But I want to read to everyone because I always try to pick my favorite things to talk about on Friday. And first of all, your cover is probably going to be it, but this is my second favorite thing, is the first line of this book. And I love a good first line. And I think with thrillers, if you can hook me on a first line, like I pay attention. And all my, people who are hardcore readers, that's what we pay attention to. The very bizarre, everybody else is like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I pay attention to quotes and first lines. So you had an amazing first line. It's, looking back, the most striking thing is she knew I didn't like her, and she knew I didn't care. And I was like, ooh, because we know the title is The French Girl, so we know she's talking about the French girl. Okay? So did you go back? Was that in a draft, or was that the first thing you thought of when you went to write it?
That was the first thing I wrote. Yeah, she knew I didn't like her, and she didn't care. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. So I wrote, I had the kind of broad concept, and the French girl in the title, she crops up a fair bit in the book, as you know.
Yes. Which I love.
That was never really my intention. I mean, I don't think it's a spoiler to say that she's dead by page 2. So
right. It's not a spoiler. Exactly.
I think I can say that. And so my intention was, well, she was dead, and she would be, the inciting incident, if you like, that everything gets built around. But that was it. And she just wouldn't go away, and she became so much more than that. And it's funny, when I look back at it, that was literally the first thing I wrote. I didn't meddle with that line at all. And I think even then she'd sort of decided to get her hooks into me, and she was trying to expand her part.
I thought it was so cool. And this is the second time I've heard the name Severine. That is not a common name. I didn't even know how to say it because I was like in my head. And then another author was talking about, we were just having a talk, and she mentioned that name because she was from Paris. And she said, and I was like, wait, I just read, I was like, did you read The French Girl? Like that was the name. But they said it's a really popular French name, and it's so weird that I never heard. It was like twice in 1 week, and I'm like, oh, now I know that name. But do you say it's Severine? Is that right? Severine. Yeah.
That's how I say it. Severine.
Yeah. I mean, the girl that did your audio, she had such a cool accent that it kind of came out way better saying than how I'm saying it in my accent. So
shout out to Catherine Lee McEwen, who did the Audible book. She was fantastic.
Loved her. I loved her because I listen. I do both. I listen and I read on Kindle, depending on where I am. Like if I'm in the grocery store, I have it open to Kindle, but most of the time I walk around listening to it. And I love sometimes I would be like, what do I want to do? Read or listen? Oh, I love her. I'll listen to it. And that is so important. And it really adds another thing that just adds to the book is if you got a great audiobook. Because people look for the ratings on audiobooks too, and she got great ratings, so you must be thrilled with that.
Yeah, thrilled for her because she deserves the credit for that.
She really does. Yeah,
it was fun though because it's a debut book. I'd never been through this process before, so I got sent a list of words which the producer of that, who was American, was worried about pronouncing correctly. And some of them, I was just looking at them going, I don't know how you were planning to pronounce it, because to me, coming from Britain, it can only be pronounced one way.
That is so funny.
So I was finding out about all these different things that, like, oh, you would say, oh, I didn't think that anyone would say that differently, and now I know.
I know, it's really strange because even on Netflix, if I'm watching an English show or an Australian show that we're all speaking English, I always have the subtitles up, because when you speak fast, I'm like, because, I can have a conversation with you and understand, but when it's a show and they're speaking really fast and I'm missing words in between, I don't know, people are like, you can't understand that? I'm like, I can't, it is different with an accent. It really is. And she had a beautiful voice too. I mean, her voice, was, the way she said everything. And she kept that tension up, that it was like, like that's another awesome thing. And that's, it's a talent. It's a real extreme talent to be able to do that. She can read a paragraph that you would just read it, but the way she said it, I was like, ooh, that sounds so good. My head did. So anyway, show everybody the cover one more time. Before I let you go, what is next? So, I'm writing another book that's going to be published by Berkeley. I'm probably about 3/4 of the way through it. It's kind of the difficult stage, I think, but then I think the difficult stage is anything from about 20,000 words onwards. So. Right. So I'm hard at work at that, and I've written odd little pieces for various websites and things, so you might see my name crop up on some of those. That's what's next for me. So do you have a release date? Like, are you under pressure for it, or is it just whenever
Slightly under pressure.
Slightly
under pressure. It's a 2019 book.
Okay.
I'm not sure that we've pinned down which month 2019 at the moment.
Well, what happens is, like, once you're successful like this, they're like, okay, quick, write another book. And you're like, quick, write another book. That's what publishers do. As soon as this one becomes a bestseller, they're like, okay, let's go. So, because you got so many fans.
I was fortunate that this was a too big deal. So I already knew that I had to kind of get, we'll see. And at the moment, it's just, it's an odd balance for me trying to do something new and then also keep an eye on all the social media and stuff in relation to the French Girl. Yes. And to be clear, I was not on Facebook before I had the French Girl coming out. So I've had to really initiate myself into how social media works.
Right, exactly.
I'm not sure I'm doing that wonderfully, but I'm doing the best I can.
Are you on Instagram?
I am on Instagram. Okay. You can find me at Lexie Elliott Writes.
Okay, I'm going to have all your links listed under here. My daughter does the research on all that. I just wanted to know because I just know there are so many of your fans over there. Like, you will love those people.
It's been amazing. And, that, the kind of, the wealth of feeling, the passion for reading that you see on Instagram and the thoughtfulness, the intellect from everybody who's reviewing, it's wonderful. It's a whole community that as I say, I wasn't on Instagram, I didn't know it existed, and I've been really bowled over by it.
Yeah, my daughter kind of set mine up, and she was like, you should go on there sometime. They really, you can get a lot of love over on Instagram. And as I started to get to know the book reviewers, like, more intimately, I mean, I know I read a lot, but let's just be clear. Who reads books? Those book reviewers are not kidding.
Oh my God.
They are heads and tails over me because I go to them when I have an interview and I'll be like, did you read this book? Oh yeah, I read that book, 3 weeks ago when they have read it all and they are so helpful and everybody likes helping everybody else and, and they love having the authors over there. I mean, they love having you guys to like communicate with and everything. So it's great. Yeah. It's really awesome. So anyway, thank you, Lexie. And guys, go read The French Girl. It is such a great book. I will have all of Lexie's links under here and the Amazon link so you can just press on it and go buy it. And thank you. Please keep me in touch with the next one, okay?
I will do. Thank you so much for having me. That's been fantastic.
Yeah, have a great day. Thanks, Lexie. Bye.
Bye.
you everyone for watching my interview with Lexie. Oh my gosh, was she cute? So inspiring. I mean, she's the age of my daughters and she inspires me, okay? Like you can do everything. You can do anything you want to. And she is motivated, okay? She went to Oxford, swam the English Channel. Her debut novel is a bestseller. I mean, I am inspired, and I just want to thank her so much for taking the time to talk with me. Like I said before, I will have all of Lexie's links underneath here. If you enjoyed the video, please hit like, and if you'd like to get updates on all my videos, please hit subscribe. Bye till tomorrow.